program. A lot to cover on the show. There's a lot to cover in Charlottesville and Albemarle County and Central Virginia, it seems, every day. We rarely struggle for content on the I Love CVille show, and today is no different. On today's program, we'll talk Staunton City Schools banning phones in schools. They are limiting how students can utilize their cell phones in hallways, in cafeterias, in classrooms. It's time for Charlottesville City and Albemarle County to follow suit. We will talk about that today on the program. Props to Staunton City Schools for leading the charge. We'll talk about Carytown. Carytown in Richmond, one of my favorite places to visit. How many of you guys have visited the quirky, the colorful, the creative Carytown in Richmond? This particular shopping and dining district is looking to convert or looking to evolve into a business improvement district. A BID, a business improvement district, has its businesses and its landlords pay additional money on top of taxes into an account. And that account, that fund, is used to improve the district. It could be done through marketing. It could be done through better lighting. It could be done through hosting events. It could be done through enhancing security. It can be done by managing the houseless population. I'm going to ask you this question, viewers and listeners. If Carytown, which is, 50 minutes from us, its merchants, its stakeholders, and its landlords are working with Richmond City Council to create a business improvement district where local businesses and local landlords are willing to pay additional funds to better or improve Carytown, shouldn't we be considering a similar system or business improvement district for downtown CVille? That topic on today's show. I also want to chatter on the program, the Dewberry Hotel. Lottie Murray, who watches the program, he's a planning commissioner in Albemarle County. He is a smart guy, very intelligent guy. He posted on his Facebook page today this, which got us thinking. He says, something to ponder, Judah, something to ponder, Jerry, something to ponder, viewers and listeners. Charlottesville talks about the need to add density and housing, but then you have this large, vacant, unfinished building just sitting in the middle of downtown. He's referring to the Dewberry Hotel. Yeah. Lonnie Murray says this: shouldn't a wise policy of increasing density in Charlottesville put significant weight on redevelopment over greenfield development? What does it say about the free market's ability to deliver affordable housing when you have properties like this just sitting there that could be housing? Instead, people are fighting over the last scraps of wooden riparian areas. That topic on today's show. I'm going to ask you, the viewer and listener, this question. We have a steel structure that is caked in graffiti, swarming with rats and rodents, reeks of urine, and is often the shelter for houseless individuals in the smack dab middle of the most important 8 blocks in Central Virginia, the downtown mall. The most important 8 blocks of a 300,000 person market. If we have a skeleton that's sitting vacant and ugly, its owner, an out-of-market landlord, John Dewberry, grew up in Waynesboro, played quarterback for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, now an Atlanta resident who's been dubbed by Bloomberg Magazine the emperor of empty lots. We have dubbed him on the I Love CVille show the extorting emperor of empty lots because he keeps his properties vacant and blighted, almost to the point of eminent domain. Not quite past the line of eminent domain, because this guy pays his taxes on his holdings and he secures his buildings just enough that they cannot be characterized as blighted or cannot be taken over by the city through eminent domain. And he keeps them in this condition for the sole purpose of getting tax advantages heaped and thrown his way because city officials, wherever his holdings may be located, are tired of looking at hideous crap and blighted structures, ugly structures. I'm going to ask you this question. We fight for affordable housing to the point where Habitat for Humanity and local activists and the socialists of Charlottesville are banding together to try to buy a trailer park for more than the $7 million offer that's on paper. Why is that same effort not made in regards to the Dewberry Hotel? Housing affordability is at a crisis level, certainly in a place like Charlottesville and Albemarle County, where the stock of housing is extremely limited and the demand to live in Charlottesville and Albemarle County is higher than it's ever been. We're at the most expensive time to ever buy a house in Albemarle County and City of Charlottesville history, literally right now. Explain to me why the activists for affordable housing are not chomping at the bit with the proverbial torches and pickets and signs protesting outside of Johnny Dewberry's door, are demanding policy and action from local government when it comes to the extorting emperor of empty lots. That topic on today's show. We will also tell the story of a Richmond business who paid $58 million for 400 acres in Henrico and then sold the same 400 acres for $119 million later that day. The show is locked and loaded. Judah Wickhauer on a two-shot. I ask you this question now on camera every day during the beginning of the show. Which of today's headlines do you find most compelling and why? Before we get to the first headline, or is the first headline the most compelling for you?
I think it's pretty compelling, but I'm excited for our local breweries. They collectively did very well in the brewers in the beer cup, and so I'm proud of our area and proud of the breweries that placed.
How many awards allocated from local breweries? Is it the Virginia Craft Beer Cup?
Yeah, Virginia Craft Beer Cup 2024. I believe we've got, depending on who you include in Central Virginia, we've got about 14 awards.
Okay. Which ones would you consider maybe not in Central Virginia?
There was I think a Lake Anna brewery that I'd never heard of that I think is in Mineral, Virginia.
Mineral's Louisa County. That's Central Virginia.
Okay.
Mineral's definitely part of Central Virginia.
Well, then let's call it 15 awards.
15 awards. Fantastic. We'll talk about that on today's show. Do you want to set the stage on Lottie Murray's Facebook posts? Lottie Murray, a planning commissioner in Albemarle County, offers us a question to ponder when it pertains to the Dewberry Hotel. Set the stage for the viewers and listeners, J-Dubs.
Well, he's asking, with all of the issues we're having trying to produce more affordable housing, why do we have this eyesore just sitting in the center of the city? Obviously a prime spot for, it was going to be a hotel. Could it be an apartment? That would be...
He one time considered it to be apartments. He's considered hotels. He's considered apartments at this location. And
I think there's some interesting back and forth already in his comment section. There's a question of, do we just take it? But somebody owns it. I don't personally want the city taking my property.
Neither do I.
And so I certainly don't want to advocate for
eminent domain.
Yeah, for that to be a thing that they feel comfortable doing.
I will say I've seen your property. Your property is in considerably better shape than the Dewberry Hotel. It's not caked in graffiti. It does not have steel that's been exposed to the elements for a generation. It does not have the houseless population urinating on its walls. It does not have pieces of the building falling down, creating a hazardous environment. And
does it have pieces?
It's had pieces falling off the building. Wow. Absolutely. And it's not your property in this condition in the dead center of the most important 8 blocks of a region.
Yeah.
I think the eminent domain, guys, is something that we should all be afraid of.
Yeah.
The city taking property away from its owners by utilizing policy and law and red tape and loopholes should terrify all of us. We all think the Dewberry Hotel is a piece of crap. We all think it's hideous. We all are terrified, horrified, mortified every time we see it when we walk in downtown Charlottesville. It's gotten to the point right now where locals don't even notice it, and that's the worst position possible when it's not even in your eye line anymore because you're so used to it. It's almost like it's become the norm or we're apathetic to it. Can you imagine what tourists think? Every time my parents visit, they live in North Carolina. Every time my in-laws visit, they live in New York. We come downtown, they make a reference to what is that? Why does it smell like urine? Are those rodents? That's what they reference. And
I've never smelled it, but
have you been there close to it?
Okay, but to be fair, that's not the only place that
no, it's not.
That
it's
the
not.
homeless population is urinating on.
It's not. It's not.
I mean,
but it is vacant.
Yeah.
It has steel that's been exposed to the elements for a generation. It's caked in graffiti. It has parts of the building that in the past have fallen down, and it is in the dead center of the downtown mall. Yeah. And it's owned by a landlord that has a history, so much so that Bloomberg called him the emperor, the emperor of empty lots. He leaves his properties, his holdings in these conditions, so he's basically, we've called him the extorting emperor of empty lots, influencing, pushing, bullying jurisdictions to heap tax incentives his way so he can build projects and get them going.
But to be fair to him,
I appreciate the back and forth. He's paying his taxes.
We have talked about the reasons he left this project unfinished.
I could offer a little color on that if you would like me to.
I think we have in the past. Go ahead.
We absolutely have in the past. We've heard about this topic from Lloyd Snook on this show, counselor. Mm-hmm. He offered much color and background on this. Michael Payne, a two-time city councilor. Michael Payne has done a lot of incredible I hope Michael Payne hears this. I do not agree with a lot of what Michael Payne does. Michael Payne is a socialist, but Michael Payne has done significant positive work for Charlottesville. Michael Payne
100%.
is extremely intelligent. Michael Payne is an advocate for affordable housing. Mm-hmm. He's an advocate for marginalized communities and marginalized people in the city.
Yeah.
Okay? Michael Payne's primary source of income is the $18,000 he's making on city council. And it has been that way for the 5 years he's been on council. He's in the middle of his second term right now. Michael Payne, when running for his first term, when campaigning, he was one of the individuals, if not the primary individual, that drew attention to a negotiated agreement that former city councilor Mike Signer had in play, one-time mayor Mike Signer, with the Dewberry Hotel. That agreement had parking spaces in the Water Street garage and other city incentives allocated to John Dewberry to build his hotel. And Michael Payne, in his campaign, in his platform, said, how are we allowing an out-of-market developer to get this kind of gravy, this kind of juice, these kind of perks? It is wrong, it is wrong, it is wrong. And he drew so much attention to it, eventually got part of the narrative, part of the news cycle. Activists pressured council, and the bottom of the ninth inning, they pulled the perks, the parking spots, and the other incentives. And John Dewberry said, what? You guys are not negotiating in good faith. Screw you. I'm out. I'm going to pay my taxes and leave the structure the way it is. That's what happened. And that's the point that Judah makes. I'll stop talking, and that should be on the record because that's a legitimate point you should make.
Yeah, I mean, he may have done this at a lot of other places. I don't think you or I know the circumstances surrounding any other properties that have ended in similar circumstances as the Dewberry Hotel, but I kind of think his monikers are unfair, at least in regards to Charlottesville.
Okay. Lower thirds on screen, if you could, please. Janice Boyce-Trevelyan, we see your comments. Bill McChesney, Kevin Yancey, we see your comments. Viewers and listeners, let us know your thoughts. Deep Throat, we'll get to your comments as well. This is Lonnie Murray's point. We'll highlight Neil Williamson, what he highlighted in the Lonnie Murray comment section as well. Lonnie Murray's point is this. A portion of the population vigorously are activists for housing affordability. Vigorously, they campaign, they politic, they pressure for affordability. You have an urbanist policy group called Livable Charlottesville. This is their foundation for their organization, co-chaired by Stephen Johnson and Matthew Gillikin. Explain to me why this portion of the population, who is rallying around a trailer park, trying to come up with over $7 million in funds in a joint venture with Habitat for Humanity, asking the city of Charlottesville for a bridge loan, taxpayer money, a bridge loan to buy a trailer park to keep 60 families in their mobile homes, to keep a mobile home park from being developed. Why is that effort, the effort that was used to build the crossings by McDonald's and Wendy's, the effort to change the zoning code from a draft zoning ordinance to a new zoning ordinance that allows more density? Why is that same effort, that same politicking, and that same campaigning not being done with the Dewberry Hotel?
It's a good question.
It's a great question.
Yeah. Whether it's trying to raise the money to buy the property so that Charlottesville can do something with it, or find someone who would like to do something with it, or whether it's creating incentives that will bring Dewberry back to finish this thing. I don't know if that's even possible, but yeah, it's a great question why more efforts haven't been done to at least find some solution to that building. Although I do understand why the push for buying the park. I mean, they're trying to save people's homes.
They're trying to kibosh a deal that the owners of the park agreed to with an unnamed entity that's willing to pay $7 million for it in a very legitimate and above board transaction.
Yeah.
And they're trying to kibosh in a legitimate and above board transaction by politicking, campaigning, pressuring local government to give it a bridge loan to buy the park.
Which is a loan, right?
Is that the right use of taxpayer resources?
A loan gets paid back, correct?
Does the loan get paid back every time? I'm not saying this loan won't get paid back, but there's inherent risk with loaning a nonprofit $7 million plus to buy a trailer park, then hoping to find state funds to help subsidize the cost of the loan.
Is the bridge loan covering the entire amount?
It's going to cover the lion's share of it. And Habitat for Humanity is on record saying the likelihood of us even being able to do this is not great. Now, Dewberry, to Judah's point, and the point that Neil Williamson has made in Lonnie Murray's comment section, is this. You want to make the point, what Neil Williamson made? It's a point that should be on the record, then we'll get to viewer and listener comments.
Yeah, Neil Williamson makes the best point, which is that this is private property. It's owned by someone, in this case, Dewberry, and we should all be extremely careful about how we choose to act against private property. I mean, creating precedents for taking someone's property from them without recourse is not something that any of us should want to see happening.
Is that not in the same category of using taxpayer resources to get a bridge loan, or
No.
to elicit a bridge loan, or to peer pressure or politically pressure a bridge loan from council, to then allocate that bridge loan to a nonprofit developer to buy a trailer park?
No, I think you're looking too closely at the details and missing the
Oh, please help me
the
understand.
bigger picture that it's a property purchase. It's the same thing as somebody selling a house and you offering a larger offer on the house than the other guy, and they sell it to you instead of him.
But when I offer a greater amount on a house to purchase, I'm not utilizing taxpayer dollars to make that larger purchase price.
Okay, that's fair.
There's an opportunity cost to that loan. If it gets millions of dollars from the city and utilizes millions of dollars from the city as a bridge loan to buy our trailer park, those millions of dollars could have been used to do something else. And what those millions of dollars could have been used to do something else could it be to pay higher salaries to people, to police, so our police officers could live in the city as opposed to having to commute in the city. They could have been used to improving the downtown mall from a lighting, a safety, a security, and a houseless management standpoint. They could be used to improving the bike lanes, the sidewalks, the pothole-ridden roads. They can be used to improve signage. It's an opportunity cost.
Those are fair points.
Opportunity cost. And there's the inherent risk of not getting the loan paid back.
Yeah.
There's always that risk. And what kind of interest rate do you charge to a nonprofit developer that's looking to buy a trailer park? If I was loaning money to a nonprofit developer that was looking to buy a trailer park, as a business person, my interest rate would be higher than market because there's risk. And it's a bridge loan, and it's not traditional financing. Is the city going to act like a business and say, I'm loaning money to a nonprofit developer to buy a trailer park?
To prevent development.
To prevent development, which is completely against what the new zoning ordinance is about. And I'm loaning money to a nonprofit developer
I don't know if
to
I
prevent
completely
development.
agree with that middle point.
The new zoning ordinance is about creating density. A trailer park that's on 6 acres that is home to 60 families is not the most density potential of that parcel.
Okay.
The 6 acres in Belmont on Carlton could be home to much greater than 60 families if developed strategically and accordingly.
Okay.
So the entire concept of the new zoning ordinance is more density, more housing, stabilized prices. It's just they don't want the new density, the enhanced density to happen in a marginalized community.
That's fair.
So if I'm the city and I'm giving a bridge loan to a nonprofit developer, I'm giving that bridge loan with terms that are secure and favorable to the city because the city is taking your money and my money, taxpayer resources, to fund or kibosh a potential project. And that rate should be well above market because there's inherent risk here. Find me a bank that's going to loan this kind of money and this kind of scenario and this kind of project. You'd struggle to find one.
It's good points.
Struggle to find one. The last paragraph in Lonnie's comment section, it struck you. Why did that strike you when he was responding to Deal Williamson?
Let's see. It struck me because it's...
First, you should read it.
It's a way...
First, you should read it.
Okay. He says, what could be done in Charlottesville to provide enough incentives to sway the market to favor redevelopment of blighted properties like this over greenfield development? And I think it's an interesting question. Why haven't incentives been offered to, first of all, sway Dewberry to come back and work on this thing?
100%.
And
100%.
And then, of course, the rest of it is just, more broadly to sway the market, like he says, to favor redevelopment of blighted properties. And I wonder if it has something to do with the, I don't know who it would be, the Planning Commission, the whatever.
I have no idea what you're saying.
I'm basically saying that Do people even want to build in Charlottesville? I know that we've talked about my dad's company going out of business. I recently saw a bunch of people complaining on
His dad was a partner in a development firm. They ran out of capital because bonds that they had with the city were never issued back to his dad's company in timely fashion. So eventually they ran out of business because they didn't have enough money to operate.
And never got the money back. Somebody asked my dad why he didn't sue the city, and he's, you know what? I don't have the time or money to waste trying to get money back from those. I won't use language, but he obviously thinks very lowly of whatever it is, the planning commission.
People are developing in the city.
Yeah.
There's plenty of development happening in the city. We'll get to viewer and listener comments here.
There are also a lot of complaints about developing in the city.
Right? Development's not for everybody.
And I wonder if that has something to do with why. Are they the one? I don't know. I'm just blathering here. Sorry.
Okay. Let's go to number one in the family deep throat, his photo on screen. He says this: the Dewberry Hotel is the result of a clash of two egomaniacs, Dewberry and Dr. Wes Bellamy. He throws a little shade at Dr. Bellamy and says it's weird that Dr. Bellamy is not appearing in a documentary about how one man brought a unique movement, a unique monument to the downtown mall. Now, he is offering this perspective, the same perspective I was offering. The city has forgiven loans to nonprofits in the past, and they will do so again, no doubt. For example, they forgave the loan to the Lewis and Clark Discovery Center. They'll call it a loan to get it done, then forgive it partly or fully, quietly, a few years later. There are many nonprofits in the city that are functionally just appendages of the city government. That's not how our tax dollars should be used. If people want to donate to Habitat, nothing is stopping them from doing it to fund this $7 million plus acquisition.
Those are great points.
Fantastic points. And he says, in his line of work, the joke is this: bridge loans are often bridge to nowhere loans. The point I was highlighting, as a business person, offering a nonprofit developer a bottom of the ninth inning bridge loan is risky as duck. Quack, quack, quack. And us as taxpayers should say, what are you doing and why are you doing this?
Yeah.
We should also wonder as taxpayers why we would try to keep 6 acres that is not fully dense with development from becoming fully dense with development when it's the free market that wants to do it. No one's going to buy a trailer park for $7 million to keep it a trailer park.
Yeah.
I understand the concept that 60 families will be displaced, and I empathize and sympathize for them. But this is the market, and this is the new zoning that we live in now. We don't cherry-pick development with the zoning code because it does not match the socioeconomic status or the socioeconomic location of development.
That's fair.
That is development profiling.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. You change the zoning code to basically do what we're now doing, what we're now seeing.
That's it.
And don't turn around and say, well, except for in this place or in this place or in this place.
Kevin Yancey watching the program, his photo's on screen. The new developer would need to offer terms to existing tenants close to what they're paying now for X amount of years. The city has pretty much thumbed their nose for decades at trailer parks, Kevin Yancey said. Harris Street, Hydraulic Road, Southwood. I do want to caveat this, Kevin, that Hydraulic Road and Southwood are Albemarle County and not the city. I believe there's only 2 trailer parks left in the city. And one of them, I think, was purchased by Habitat. Bill McChesney watching the program. Travis Hackworth is watching in Danville, Virginia. He's got a comment that I want to get to. I'm going to get to Travis Hackworth's comment here. If you want to get to Travis's photo on screen. Travis, I really appreciate your comments on this show. He says the local IDA should work with the owner to obtain the property and either demo the building and sell to a developer with a vetted development plan, or 2, issue a RFP for the property and develop it as a PPP project. Travis understands the concept of revitalization. In fact, he's living through it in his locality, Danville, that is now surging in quality of life and demand and offering. Now, part of that is tied to a casino. Deep Throat says this, for some context, those 6 acres by the trailer park would have been maxed out by right at 140 or so units under the old zoning. With the new zoning, it can be 600 units.
Wow.
Do we like the new zoning or do we not? And then he highlights basically what I've said, that those that want the density in the new zoning want it in the backyard of the wealthy and not on the front stoop of the poor.
Yeah.
You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it. I appreciated Lonnie's Facebook posts. The man's an intelligent individual.
I appreciated the conversation it started.
I appreciated the conversation it started. I appreciated Neil Williamson saying property rights matter even at the property rights of those with whom you disagree.
Yeah.
President of the Free Enterprise Forum, Neil Williamson.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing we want, I'm going to say this again, is for local government to eminent domain the property we own.
100%.
We may not like that our neighbor has a rusted old Chevrolet in his or her front yard, or has not cut their grass in months, or the siding of their house is peeling and falling apart. We may say, Jesus, our neighbor's house is driving the value down of our house. But we don't utilize government policy, red tape, to take people's property that are paying their taxes. If they're not paying their taxes, that's a different story. If they're not paying their taxes, that's a completely different story. But if he's paying his taxes, and John Dewberry is, and he's wiggling just within a whisker's hair of the letter of the law. He's got a gate around it. It's secured. Heck, he even partnered with Friends of CVille to wrap the building in what? Is it music? A music type artistic wrap?
Yeah, a music mural.
A music
wrap.
mural?
I don't know what you call it.
So the graffiti's kind of been covered by a musical mural wrap.
Mm-hmm.
And hasn't masked the smell of houseless urine or the swarm of rodents and rats.
Is there really a swarm of rodents?
Yeah.
There's nothing to eat in there.
Dude.
What would they be swarming for?
They live there.
Okay.
They run over, they get some cheese and some bacon and a Greg Brady's burger from Jack Brown's.
Okay.
They put it in their mouth and they run under the Dewberry. You're telling me you've never seen rats around the Dewberry Hotel?
No, I've never seen rats around the Dewberry Hotel.
Are you? Yesterday you tell the world that you never watched the show Friends.
I never said that.
You said you've barely watched the show Friends. And today you said you've never seen a rat on the downtown mall.
I can't ever remember seeing a rat on the downtown mall. Sorry.
What world?
Sorry. I mean...
Curtis Shaver, you've seen the rodents, haven't you? The rats around the mall? Have you not seen Shaver? Can we get Curtis's photo on screen? Anytime I see that jolly man's photo on screen, it makes me smile. Tell me when Curtis's picture's on screen, please. It's on screen? It's on screen. That guy's so jolly. Love that guy. How many rats have you seen in the downtown mall, Curtis? The rodents gobble up a Greg Brady from Jack Brown's and scurry under the Dewberry Hotel with the Greg Brady in their mouth like this, and then go hide under the hotel. I love that picture of Curtis. Anything you want to add to this? This is basically the point. We have, in closing, a group of activists that vigorously campaign and politic He says many, many rats, Judah. Many, many rats.
Many rats. Working in the kitchen maybe
many rats.
Provide a different perspective.
Dude, have you not eaten at one of the cafes on the mall and watched as the rats go into the tree areas on the mall? In and out of the beds under the trees? You've never seen that?
Just squirrels. I've never seen rats. I'm sorry. I've never seen a rat.
You need to see the big city lights.
In Charlottesville? I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Remember, I've lived in actual cities.
I was joking.
I know.
Joking.
So was I.
Before we get to the next topic, this is the point. Why is the same movement that's done to save a trailer park the same movement that is utilized to champion an apartment tower at the Truist Bank site on Ivy Road by Moe's Barbecue? The same movement that is all about housing affordability and the new zoning ordinance. Why isn't it being utilized on that thing?
Yeah.
How many micro apartments could you build there? You made Deep Throat laugh. I've lived in actual cities.
I mean,
Curtis says, them ain't squirrels, Judah.
Come on, I know the difference between a bushy tail and a rat tail.
Squirrels. Oh, God. The rats are effing ginormous, too.
I have seen rats in Charlottesville, just not on the downtown mall.
Georgia Gilmer. We kid because we care, Georgia Gilmer. We kid because we care. What's the next topic, my friend? Judah is one of a kind. That's why we love him. I've worked with this guy for 14 years. He's one of a kind. Marches to the beat of his own drum. That's what I love about him. What's the next topic, my friend? Put the headline on screen and read it to your adoring fans. Oh, this is your headline.
2024 Virginia Craft Beer Cup winners were announced on Monday.
This is good news.
Yeah.
How many? A lot. Was it 15 local awards?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Mm-hmm. And there are quite a few.
Thank you, Bill McChesney, for sharing the show. Like and share the show. If you like the show, all we ask you to do is to give it a little love, little like, little share. Vanessa Parkhill, Aaron King, we appreciate you very much. EK is a fantastic restaurant operator. Vanessa Parkhill, one of the best bookkeepers out there, the queen of Earlysville, and one of Western Albemarle's finest graduates, and Aaron King. Which stood out to you, Craft Beer Cup Award winner? I want to highlight a couple. Decipher. This Woolen Mills Brewery, Decipher, is so accoladed and awarded. You have a brewery in a warehouse space, a nondescript warehouse space, right around the corner from a storage facility, extremely off the beaten path, winning significant awards, a veteran-owned brewery.
Yeah.
If you have not tried Decipher, you are literally missing one of the best breweries out there. I also want to highlight this. Superfly Brewing on Preston Avenue, next to Shenandoah Joe's. They're making some legitimate beer out of Superfly in a very small space.
Their Midnight Train actually brought in Best in Show, third place Best in Show, and first place in Porters.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Especially considering the youth of the brewery, the fact that it hasn't been around for that long.
Yeah.
Ed clearly knows beer.
I mean, third place best in, that's not just like a
third
particular,
place best in show.
That's not like, that's not like out of all the porters or out of all the the pale ales. This is best
of any beer
in show.
The Midnight Train Porter out of a tiny brewery on Preston Avenue next to a coffee shop, a brewery that's been open for what? A cup of coffee? A New York Minute?
Yeah. And they got And this is not just this is all across Virginia.
I also want to highlight
every
this.
brewery in Virginia, and their beer came in third, best in place.
I want to highlight this. What do you notice about the breweries that won these awards? Selvage Brewing, Decipher Brewing, Superfly Brewing, Patch Brewing, Star Hill might be the anomaly, Wild Man Dan, which I think is in Greene County, Iron Pipe Brewery.
Blue Mountain brought in a few too, but I get your meaning. You're saying these breweries are all young and hungry for to create something.
No, it's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying they're of smaller scale.
Yeah.
Still craft, small scale. Once you get to a certain size, and I'm not hating, where you're almost become a local brewery that's grown in success, that it's almost a production brewery.
Yeah.
Star Hill, of the ones I listed, Selvage, Decipher, Superfly, South Street, Patch, Wild Man Dan, and Iron Pipe, those were the winners, right? Mm-hmm. Blue Mountain also won some awards. I got to highlight Taylor, what he's doing at Blue Mountain. He's doing some awards. So Blue Mountain's on that list too. A lot of these are the smaller ones that are winning.
Yeah.
It's the smaller, one location, not many taproom breweries that are winning. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you who's making damn good beer if you haven't had it. Have you been to Selvage yet?
No, I haven't.
You got to try Selvage. It's on Ivy Road. It is incredible. They have smash burgers, crinkle cut fries, fantastic beer. Mm-hmm. Selvage is making some of the best beer in Central Virginia. It may have slid into my number one spot here.
Nice.
Next headline.
Staunton City Schools ban phones.
Are we not living in a world where we're not shocked? Let me change it. Let me try a different phrase. We live in a world where our children can go to school, take out of their pocket a device that is mesmerizing and captivating, basically drugs. Pull drugs out of their pocket, their phone, sit in a class while teachers are trying to educate and teach them. In some schools, Charlottesville City, Albemarle County,
allow it to continue,
have not banned the drugs coming out of their pocket into their hands during school hours. Yeah. Explain to me how you can say, all right, junior in high school, senior in high school, sophomore in high school, you cannot blow rails off your desk or smoke a joint in class, but you can take your phone out of your pocket during pre-calculus and scroll Tinder, hop on YouTube, or send TikToks.
I think sometimes
make it make sense.
I think
no weed, no blow. Yes, TikToks. Yes, YouTube. Yes, Tinder during school hours. Make it make sense.
I think sometimes we take for granted the speed with which technology has advanced, and I don't know that we're fully ready to comprehend everything that this involves in our lives.
Judah, I've had an iPhone for 20 years. When was the iPhone first released?
Exactly the reason you take it for granted.
I don't think anyone takes for granted the iPhone. Okay, make your point here. I'm interrupting you. Make your point.
The fact of the matter is, drugs have had decades of research done on them. Whether or not we react to that research in a intelligent way, as we've seen by the war on drugs. But the fact of the matter is, we have far more information on the damage that drugs can do to a person, mentally, physically, emotionally. We have far less, I think, actionable research on cell phones. There are people doing research currently who are probably bringing us new information about the ways that phones are changing our children's development. I don't think we fully comprehend everything that this means to us yet.
Okay. I think you made a great point. It's a great point. There will be a time in our lives where we as parents, where we allowed our 6-year-old child to scroll mindlessly, aimlessly, timelessly on YouTube, watching other kids play video games, watching YouTube shorts, while we cook dinner, or because we're tired of parenting. And we're going to realize eventually, if we don't realize now, and really being honest with ourselves, that we are polluting an impressionable, rapidly changing, sponge-esque mind.
I would say sponge-esque is not going. They're sponges, literally. I mean, they absorb everything. And if all they have is doom scrolling on a phone, obviously, I think that's going to change the way they develop.
Let's let 13-year-old girls hop on Instagram and TikTok and see other 13-year-old girls with filters and lighting and beautiful outfits, and let's see if that creates body shame or body image issues. Let's let 15 and 16-year-old boys get mocked and ridiculed in comment sections by their peers and see if that impacts their psyche and their confidence.
I think a larger problem is that we're willing to allow schools to raise our children. We shouldn't necessarily be... schools should be banning cell phones, but they shouldn't be the ones that have to do that. That should be the last ditch. That should be the last, point of pushback against kids always having these phones. Ultimately, it starts in your own home. Anyone who has a child and is letting their kid doom scroll through their phone whenever they want, they're making it harder for any and every school to teach kids.
100%.
Because the kids are going to bring those phones to school. They're going to expect to be able to bring the phone in. They're going to expect to be able to pull it out and use it whenever they want. And asking a school to ban phones or to take them from kids when they first come in is really, I think, pawning off our own responsibility for our children on schools, which clearly have enough going on right now, trying to,
teach.
Yeah.
Get our kids to school on time and home on time.
Yeah.
Juan Sarmiento watching the program. His photo on screen. Juan Sarmiento says this: "My opinion is the negatives far outweigh the positives. Phones are literally interfering with learning. It is near impossible to have a conversation with a teenager or young adult while they have a phone in their hands." You're 100% right. I have a 6-year-old who loves Skittles.
Oh, yeah.
Our 6-year-old can be on the iPad, doom scrolling, as Judah call it, looking at YouTube shorts or watching other kids play video games. It makes no sense to me. I can't even effing understand it. Watching other kids play video games on YouTube. I am 2 feet away from my kid, as close to Judah and I are. Studio camera. Can you go to the studio camera? Can we touch hands if we slide our chair over? Are you on the studio camera? There we go. I can be that close to our oldest son. I have a bag of Skittles. You can eat as many of Skittles as you want. King-size bag of Skittles. Shake the bag. You want some Skittles? It's the reds and the purples, just like you want them. We don't have to tell Mom. You can have them before bed. You want these Skittles? Doesn't even hear me.
And that should be terrifying.
That's drugs.
I don't know if that's terrifying to you, but imagine...
That's drugs.
No, but seriously,
seriously.
Imagine walking through a city like that.
Yeah.
Completely unaware of your surroundings, whether it's a bus barreling towards you or somebody,
Dude, I'm going to tell you right
pulling
now,
a weapon.
I might be blowing my spot up here. In my lifetime, I've smoked a hell of a lot of weed.
I believe it.
If I was sitting next to you, stoned, and you said to me, I got a bag of Skittles. Do you want to eat it? What do you think I would do with that bag of Skittles? Shove it down my throat.
Destroy it.
Shove it down my throat. Okay? And maybe it's the point that you have made that we don't have enough empirical data or evidence about what scrolling is doing to our kids.
It's different than a drug, though. I understand what you're saying, but
please, how is it different than a drug? It ruins your self-image.
A drug may change your senses, but being focused on this engages your senses.
No, it does not. It does not.
It
changes the senses of what's around you in the world except the phone that's in front of your face. It impacts your self-esteem. It impacts your self-confidence. It keeps you from exercising. It keeps you from being in the moment. It creates body image issues. It's drugs.
Okay.
Staunton City schools have banned them. Charlottesville City and Albemarle County schools, wake up. Do the same. Don't be the last to the party. Lisa Costello. The teachers are probably afraid to enforce it. Every student may become violent. It's an addiction. That'll be the next thing we see. She's 100% right. Lisa Costello's photo on screen. When these schools start banning phones, the student's going to be like, what? You're banning my phone? You're taking it away from me?
Yeah.
You're going to see like roid rage from the kids. When the phones are taken
kids
away.
Just stop going to school. I mean, will kids
Kevin
decide
Yancey,
they don't want to go?
Kevin Yancey says it's the same thing they said about radio and television years ago. I appreciate the point he's making, but radio and television you don't have the intimacy with radio and television that you do with your phones. The accessibility, the immediacy. Radio and television, at least they were breaks. When I was watching The Simpsons or Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or Judah's favorite show of all time, Friends, there were commercial breaks. And those breaks, we would leave the couch and the television and go to the bathroom. We would eat food. We would leave the box, the content creator. There's no breaks. I have seen our 6-year-old spend like 2 hours without stopping, without looking up. There's a thing called text neck. You know what text neck is? Have you noticed human beings now are hunched over with their neck and their spine and their shoulders? Can you go to the studio camera? It's from doing this. Of course your posture is going to change if you're like this for hours every day.
Yeah.
You're looking down.
Mm-hmm.
Your structure of your body is going to change. And in closing, the C-suite of the social media apps, the C-suite, the parrots that are in the C-suite, they limit the social media apps with their kids and the usage.
Yeah, because they're the ones that
they know.
They
created the drugs.
Exactly.
Download some drugs from the Apple Store. Next headline, please.
Next headline.
This one's bananas.
Albemarle County and Charlottesville Planning Commissions, no joint meetings. I believe you said in...
This is in Sean Tubbs' article. Sean Tubbs does a great job. This is bananas to me. There's in Sean Tubbs' CVille Weekly article today, there's a paragraph that says this. The Albemarle County and Charlottesville Planning Commissions have not held a joint meeting for more than 5 years. And during this period, both localities have been updating their respective development rules. That boggles my mind. The group of people that help determine development and where it's going to happen, how it's going to look, offer the approval on building height, building size, parking, site plans, how the cities and how the jurisdictions are going to look.
Mm-hmm.
The neighboring Charlottesville and Albemarle County planning commissions have not met in joint capacity in more than 5 years.
Yeah.
Make it make sense. Make it make sense. There's an invisible line with a 10.2 square mile city, Charlottesville. Mm-hmm. And this invisible line determines where a city ends and a county starts. And one county, Albemarle, completely engulfs or circles the city. And those two planning commissions haven't met in joint capacities to talk about how they can cohesively or harmoniously grow together as it pertains to roads and traffic and buildings and housing and transportation and quality of life. Please make it make sense. Next headline.
Like I said, I'm not surprised.
Okay, do we just chalk it up as being sad?
I don't.
You just chalk it up like this is Charlottesville. Of course they're not going to do it. It's just Charlottesville. That's what you're saying.
I mean, I've said it before. I don't really. There's no vision. Why would they need to meet and talk about stuff that's coming in the future when there's no vision for the future? They're just random projects.
That's not just going to fly with me.
I'm not saying I think it's a good thing or I agree with it or I like it, but
next headline.
Carytown eyes business improvement district.
Okay. Siri, set a timer for 90 seconds.
1 minute and 30 seconds. Counting down.
Carytown is a creative, quirky, cohesive, charming, cool collective. Some good alliteration right there.
I see what you did there.
That was good. Carytown, in conjunction with the Economic Development Authority of Richmond and Richmond City's Council, is looking to create a BID, a Business Improvement District, for the 9 blocks that we call Carytown. A business improvement district has its landlords and its businesses pay in addition to a fund, in addition to taxes, real estate taxes, sales taxes, meals taxes, lodging taxes.
Isn't that kind of like the Friends of CVille?
Friends of CVille is a nonprofit that lobbies for downtown. It's not a business improvement district.
But I believe some of the businesses pay the Friends of
CVille. They
CVille,
pay
don't
Friends of CVille to then do work for downtown. A business improvement district is a fund.
Okay.
Where you're required to pay. Friends of CVille, the businesses are not required to contribute to Friends of CVille.
Yeah.
If you're a part of Carytown, if this becomes a reality in the 9 blocks, you have to pay into it. And this business improvement district, Siri, set the timer for another 90 seconds.
1 minute and 30 seconds.
Sorry.
Counting down.
This business improvement district would help improve quality of life, lighting, signage, marketing, would create a brand, would help manage the houseless population.
How?
There are many ways.
Okay.
Security, asking folks to leave. I asked this question. We are 55 minutes from Carytown. It's a 9-block commercial, dining, entertainment, shopping district. Very similar to downtown. If Carytown's creating a business improvement district, should we not create or consider a business improvement district for Charlottesville and its downtown mall? I own real estate in downtown Charlottesville. Largest owner in the Macklin building. our business is in downtown Charlottesville. I would gladly pay a bid to make Charlottesville's downtown better quality of life, safer, more lit, better brand, more marketing, manage the houseless.
How much would you be willing to pay?
That's to be determined. How the bid in Richmond works, they have a barometer. It's based on property value structures in which businesses and property owners pay 5 cents per $100 of assessed value. And the final topic of today's program is one that also intrigued me from Richmond. There's a company called Ourigan, Hourigan. They purchased 400 acres in Henrico for $58 million. And on July 1, they sold the same 400 acres, which they got for $58 million, for $119 million. Sold the same day, the same acreage, to QTS data centers. They bought something for $58 million, and they sold it for $119 million on the same day Henrico County records show. 400-acre plot at 3250 and 3555 East Williamsburg Road in Verina. You buy something for $58 million, and the same day you sell it for $119 million. You 2x your money.
Yeah.
I say that's a pretty good return on investment.
No doubt.
Anything you want to close with, my friend? You did a hell of a job today.
I'm just going to say that I've clearly got a lot of beers to try because I don't think I've tried many of these the beers that won in the beer cup.
One of the things, Bill McChesney, thank you for reminding me. One of the things a business improvement district could do would be campaign or champion for a designated outdoor refreshment area, Adora. Juan Sarmiento, we appreciate you commenting on the show. Lisa Costello, we appreciate you commenting on the show. Viewers and listeners, if you like the show, share the gospel, spread the gospel, tell folks about the show. Follow us and subscribe to us on YouTube, please. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Judah Wickower, Jerry Miller, the I Love CVille Show. So long, everybody.